Hello, Internet. How are you doing? Long time no see. Who remembers what mug cakes are? So I feel like mug cakes took over Pinterest in like the 2018, 2019 era, and now I feel like I never hear about them. And to be honest, I didn't really think about them until I was walking through Walmart the other day doing my normal weekly grocery shopping, and I was walking down the baking aisle because you can always find me in the baking aisle, and right next to the chocolate cake mixes, like the Betty Crocker ones, were these little cups. They looked like the mac and cheese, instant mac and cheese that you just add water to and throw in the microwave to cook, but they weren't mac and cheese, they were chocolate cake. And they were selling them for like $1, and they were from that fancy chocolate brand, was it Ghirardelli? Yeah, Ghirardelli chocolate. And so of course I had to get some and try it out, but when I came home and eventually had some, they weren't that good. I mean, they were okay. It tasted like a cake that you just added water to and microwaved, which is what we did. I wasn't expecting much, and it didn't deliver much, so it was fine. And that got me thinking about this mug cake trend, and I remember having one back in, it had been 2018, 2019, pre-pandemic, as all time is the same. And I remember thinking the same thing, it was just kind of okay. It wasn't very good, but this trend was huge. It was everywhere you could find mug cake recipes. And that begs the question, is that there has to be a good one. They can't all be bad. There has to be a good mug cake recipe out there that actually tastes like cake. So I got to some Googling, and I have in front of me 5 recipes that we are gonna try, and we are going to rank, and we are gonna see if any of them are good. I was honestly really surprised by the diversity of recipes that I found. I thought they were all going to be the same, but there were so many different ones that I just picked 5 that I thought would be good to try. I don't know. We'll make them. We'll rank them. We'll see which is best. They're all pretty much the same ingredients, just different ratios of ingredients. So maybe we'll find the magic ratio today. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they're all going to suck. Who knows? I don't know. We'll find out. So this first recipe here is from the Tasty Company, and if you've ever been on Facebook, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. There's a white text, blue background. You probably have at least 4 videos on your timeline right now. 2 things I want to note about this recipe while we sit here and watch me make it. First thing is that this is probably the easiest recipe of all 5 to make. It was 2 steps. It was mix everything together in a mug and microwave it. That was it. It was done. Easy peasy. Second thing that I want to touch on is this recipe had the highest ratio of dry ingredients to wet ingredients, which means that compared to all of the other recipes, this batter ended up being the thickest. Okay, so recipe number 2 is from a channel called Pickup Limes, and if for some reason you've never heard of them before, you have to go check them out. They are so good. A couple things I want to note about this recipe. So they are all about very clean eating. They're vegan, I think maybe gluten-free. You'd have to double check me on that. But they called for some ingredients that I wasn't gonna buy just for a single mug cake. So for example, they called for plant milk, but I just used regular milk. They called for a special type of cocoa powder, like Dutch pressed or something, but I just used the cocoa powder that I bought for all of the other ones. So keep that in mind when it comes to the review at the end, that I did have to substitute some things out. So for recipe number 3, I wanted to try to find the most viewed mug cake recipe I could find. So basically I just went into YouTube, typed in mug cake recipe, sorted by most viewed, and this is the one that popped up. This is from a channel called Cooking Shooking, and it had 11 million views last time I looked at it, which is absolutely insane. So this recipe in particular is probably the most extensive, so it has the most amount of ingredients. It has ingredients that I only use in this recipe because none of the other ones called for it. For example, I had to buy a can of condensed milk. It called for a little bit of vinegar. I had to add cream. I used both baking powder and baking soda, and overall this had the most amount of ingredients. So for recipe number 4, I went back into YouTube and again I looked up mug cake recipes, but this time I searched for most relevant. So this is what YouTube thinks is the most relevant mug cake recipe for me, and it's from a channel called Emma's Goodies. This video also had a bunch of views, like in the 5-6 million range, I believe. But a thing to note about this recipe is probably one of the more complicated ones. There's a few extra steps. For instance, at the very beginning they want you to do something called bloom your cocoa powder, which is you add your cocoa powder to warm butter and let it, I don't know, meld together or something. It's supposed to bring out the chocolate flavors. And then the next step is to add milk, but you can't really add milk directly from your fridge, otherwise the chocolate will like seize up and become clumpy, so it asks you to warm it up as well. I just warmed mine up in the microwave, and you can see me pour it in. But basically what I wanted to note about this recipe is it's not as easy as the other ones. You can't just mix all the ingredients together in a mug and microwave it. It has a few extra steps involved. And lastly, for recipe number 5, I have the mug cake recipe with the least number of views that I could find. So this is from a channel called Znat's Cooking, and when I first looked it up, I think they had just posted it the day that I found it, and it had 8 views. I think now it's at like 150 that I saw. But this recipe is also extremely easy. The instructions were to add your dry ingredients, mix it together, add one wet ingredient, I think it was milk first, mix it together, then add your olive oil first, mix it together, and then microwave. So I would say it's a few more steps than recipe number 1, Tasty's videos, but not as many steps as recipe number 4, Emma's Goodies. Kind of in the middle. Okay, here's all my mug cakes. This one is the recipe by Tasty. This one is the recipe by Pickup Limes. Most viewed, most relevant, least viewed. We'll go through them one by one. We'll taste test them. We'll talk about how easy they were to make. We'll talk about obviously what they taste like. And in the end, I'll pick my favorite. And I'll tell you officially what's the best mug cake on the internet. It's all scientific here. Okay, first up, Tasty. Let's give it a try. Yeah, so when I think of mug cakes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this is what I think of. It's not very flavorful. It's pretty dry. It just kind of tastes like sugar with a little bit of chocolate in it, which is not bad. Like, if you want a midnight snack and you're just craving chocolate cake, this isn't bad. It's just not very good either. For now, we'll move on to the one Pickup Limes. Yeah, see, this tastes so much better. Wow, this is actually really good. Yeah, this tastes like cake. This has a lot more depth than that one. I feel like I can taste the chocolate. There's not as much sugar. It's a little bit up there. It's still not great. Like the texture, I don't know if it's because it's been sitting here for a while before I've had a chance to try it, because it's kind of hard, but it tastes a lot better. So far, I like this one more than that one. Okay, let's look at our most viewed recipe. So I'm really excited for this one because this one had the most amount of ingredients. It was probably one of the more complicated ones to make. I think this one and this one was the most complicated to make. So I'm expecting more from this mug cake. We'll see. Okay. This is really good. Wow, this is good. So, the texture is so much better than both of these two. Both of these were really hard and dry. This one is nice and soft. It's fluffy. It's easy to dig your fork into. It's not too dry. I don't think it has quite enough chocolate flavor for me though. So if you make this, try adding a little bit more cocoa powder than it called for, because this chocolate flavor is really good. And this one is a little less chocolatey. But the texture of this one is really, really good. I don't know where I rank these two, probably this one over this one, but we'll save the final judgments till the end. Okay, this one is marked as the most relevant. It was from a channel called Emma's Goodies. Oh, and this one was from a channel called Cooking Shooking. Let's give it a try. Oh my god. Oh my god, this one's really good. Oh god, this one's my favorite so far. Out of all of these, this one. Oh my god, this is good. The texture's there. It's nice and soft and fluffy, and it tastes really, really chocolatey. Now this one did have that initial step that she calls it like blooming your chocolate, where you add your cocoa powder into warm butter and then mix it together and let it sit for a little bit. And apparently it's supposed to make the chocolate flavors come out. And if that's the only difference between these and some of other these, which it's not, but if it was, this is by that step makes everything worth it, because this is by far the best. This is so good. This tastes like chocolate cake. Like I would make this recipe and bake a whole cake like this. This is really good. I can't believe this came out of a mug. So this last mug then is the least viewed video that I could find that had a mug cake recipe. It's from a channel called Zinat's Cooking. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that name. I probably am. But yeah, when I found it, like I said, it had like 8 views and I was 3 of them. But now I just looked it up because I was looking up the channel name. It has 110 views. So go off. Congratulations. Let's give it a try. Take a big bite. It's pretty damn good. That texture is good. I don't think it beats this one. I think I put a little too much olive oil in it, and I don't know, I know it called for oil, but I don't know if I used the wrong type of oil, but it tastes really olive oily to me. But the texture is very good, and it tastes very chocolatey, and it's light, it's fluffy, it's moist. All around good cake. So much better than like these couple. So if you're gonna make anything, either make this one or this one. This one is much easier, I think, than this one, but this one is by far the best out of everything. And again, this one was most relevant, Emma's Goodies. This one, you gotta try it. It's so good. It tastes like chocolate cake, and it's not that hard. I think the hardest part is melting the butter beforehand and then blooming the chocolate. But then I think it's just a few other ingredients that you have to mix put in a mug and mix together. This one, I'm surprised that I didn't like more than I did, because this one has a little bit of cream. This one has some vinegar in it. I don't know why we added vinegar, but it called for vinegar. This one also had butter. It had condensed milk and regular milk, which I don't know. I think condensed milk only comes in cans, or that's the only way that I can buy it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this open can of condensed milk. Can you save it? I don't know if you can save it. I might just have to throw it away. But this is not worth the ingredient. And I only say that, like, this is good, but I only say that because if you're gonna make a mug cake, right, you want something that's really fast that you can just throw in a mug, mix together, put in a microwave, right? Midnight snack, I want it to be under 5 minutes, and then before I can shove cake in my mouth. And this one calls for way too many ingredients. Like, there's no way that I'm gonna have everything on hand ready to go to be able to make this one at 3 a.m. if I wanted to. But this one, I definitely do. And you definitely can make it under 5 minutes. It's so good. By far. Emma's Goodies is the winner. And you have to try it. But all of these were great contenders. Should we order them? Maybe we should order them. Okay, nope. Official order. Final thoughts. It's official. All right. Favorite, Emma's Goodies. Second favorite, Cooking Shooking. Third favorite, Zanat's Cooking. Zanat's Cooking. Fourth, Pickup Limes. Fifth, Tasty. Not worth it. 100% worth it. And these two can't go wrong. They're both good. This one, I would say don't even worry about trying it. Just stick with these three. Golden. Golden. I've also, when I was doing my research, so for this experiment, right, I just stuck to chocolate cake. I didn't add any toppings. I didn't add any extras. I stayed away from chocolate brownies. I stuck to strictly chocolate cakes. But there are a ton of other flavors out there. There's like a cookie flavor. There's vanilla, obviously. There's like birthday cake flavor. Or a bunch of different toppings. Like any of these would be, they would be so good with like some Nutella. Or even just some peanut butter on top. Good. Some of these recipes recommended even getting some chocolate and chopping it up, or adding chocolate chips and mixing it into the batter. That would also be very good. But I didn't do that for here. But next time I probably will. I think I've changed my outlook on mug cakes. Because like I said, the only type of mug cakes I had tasted like this one, which are okay, not great, but you know, if you're hungry and you need something and you want chocolate, you know, it's fine. But this is so good. And it's just as easy as this one, and it's so much better. Like, I would actually make this one. After my first mug cake, I never had it again because I didn't think it was very good, but I will definitely be making this again. And this is dangerous because this takes less than 5 minutes to make, which is, I'm kind of upset that I have this knowledge. Let me know if you like mug cakes. Let me know if you still make mug cakes. Let me know what your favorite recipe is, or favorite flavor, or what's your favorite dessert in general. Yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want to see me make. So yeah, if you're still here, if you're still watching, thank you. I appreciate you. If you want to think about liking the video or subscribing to my channel, that would be amazing, and I would appreciate it even more. But if not, no worries, no pressure. I'll try to be here next week cooking something else. I'm not quite sure yet what, but it'll be fun, and it'll be a grand time. So, all right. Thanks, guys. That's all I had this week. Goodbye.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never